Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University, and Captain Marvel issue number 25. Brave New World, Part 4. Corey, I love you, man. Um, anyway, this was a really good story. I really like this. Also, notice it's a quarterly issue. It's issue 25, right? Wow. Huh. So this is like double sized and an extra dollar or so. No, it's a regular comic book and bold and appreciated choice because I don't work for Marvel, but I can imagine they put certain pressures on their writers to make sure you make a book that there's a little bit extra there. Kelly's got a story to tell, and it's like everybody else, please just freaking leave me alone so I can tell the story. You know what I'm saying? Okay, editors, fine. There's a difference there, but don't tell me to add something just because it's a celebratory issue. Shut up. How about that? I'll tell you what's a celebratory issue. 25 is just a number. You know what I'm saying? Unless you're an old head, then that's a celebration. That's where 25 becomes an important deal. Anyway, um, I guess unfortunately, that's gonna have to be my only Martin Luther King tribute moment there. God, we live in such a crap world. Anyway, guys, let's try and do something happy. Let's talk about comic books, all right? This issue is called The New World, Part 4. Writer Kelly Thompson, artist Lee Garbet, flashback artist Belen Ortega, and color art by Antonio Fabella. Letters, VC's Clayton Cowles, and the cover artist is George Molina. Variant covers out there. Feel free to go check them out. I like that Matthew Wilson is actually doing the colors on both of those issues. Interesting. And bang, let's move on from here. So, the beginnings of the story is actually Bridget and Rhodes, and we're finding out more about Rhodes. Not enough, but nonetheless, we're learning certain little things about her, like, case in point, how her powers work. Hopefully, that's going to give us. I kind of hope that this is going to be one of those things where when we find out like more about her, we'll say, "Oh, that explains why her power works this way." Where it's one of those things where it's like, "Duh, why didn't we know that this is the reason why her power works this way?" I feel like this is a hint that I'm just not getting. You know what I'm saying? So, advice below if you guys know something that I don't. All right. And I'm going to get more into that later. We get a moment in here with Bridget, which this is this is one of the things that I always appreciate about Kelly Thompson's work. She, I don't know if she asks or gets assigned an artist, but she always seems to be lucky enough to get the perfect artist for the story that she's telling. In this case, two artists, because one, there's a moment here where the story goes into flashbacks, and I thought it was a very particular and bold and at first stupid choice, hold for that, to make the flashback scenes look like manga. Because I actually looked at this as like, oh, this isn't going to work. This is horrible. This is bad. Oh, you're suddenly making me not want to read the comic book. And then by the time I got to the second panel, I was like, no, actually, this is pretty good. I can admit when I'm wrong, even when it's something that you would never know that I was wrong on something. I'm totally okay with admitting when I'm wrong on something. To me, that's what a man does. Not a male, a man, a hue man. Not a hue woman, a hue person, okay? A hue person. I think that's what all of us should be capable of doing is admitting when we're wrong, even when it's just through introspection. Um, but the manga flashback scenes actually worked really surprisingly well with this comic book. It was a shock to see it at first because it was so manga, but I like it. And I think that it really goes well with the themes that I originally hoped that Marvel was trying to present to us, that they're trying to incorporate more of a manga audience. I think it's a great idea. I don't like that they canceled Arrow. I think that that's Arrow and Swordmaster. I think that those are two stories that should keep on going regardless of sales, at least for 2 years minimum. I'd rather say five, but I'm not the budgeting department. You know what I'm saying? I feel like those are stories that should just keep on going and they should just manga it up as much as possible. And because like people aren't going to necessarily jump on your story inside the first 20 issues. Hey, wait, this review is supposed to be about Captain Marvel, right? Anyway, I said what I said and I meant what I said. I mean what I say about this also. The second part about the art that surprised me in here is there's a moment here with Bridget where I don't know if it's prophecy or what you would call it, but inevitability happens. And the moment that I saw it, I thought this was undeserved. I wanted to see more struggle. I wanted to see more strain. I wanted to see more something. Like it just feels like, oh, it was just time to do this thing. And it bothered me because it's like this could have been so much more. You know what? I'm gonna go spoiler on this because I'm gonna tell you how I actually felt about this. And in order to do that, I have to tell you exactly what happened. So, spoiler coming up. Go away if you didn't read this book. But before you go, buy the freaking book because you're gonna enjoy this book. All right, you're gonna enjoy this book. Um, what basically happens in here is one thing that I'm not going to spoil is what really happened to Namor. Holy crap. Holy crap. Right? Two, the thing with Bridget, she actually gets Mjolnir in this one. Mjolnir comes to her. I feel like it was spoken what was supposed to happen as opposed to earning. Like being worthy of Mjolnir should not be something where, and I know this is something that triggers a lot of people like me. You can call me fanboy, and call me whatever the hell you want. I really don't care. I've been called a lot worse in the military. Psh, bring your freaking pejoratives. And also, spell pejorative. Anyway, what do you call it? For the rest of us, the rest of us adults in the room, Thor is a character, and more specifically, the worthy thing, it's not something that should be taken lightly. I hate that everybody in the freaking Marvel universe and the DC universe and freaking wherever is, but like at some point Savage Dragon is going to show up and he's going to be worthy because we got to do something cool, right? And make him worthy. That's cool. Shut up, go away. Vision is not worthy. I don't care if he's a robot or whatever. He's technically got a soul. We could pretty much be sure that he's got a soul somewhere in there. You can't be that much of a good character and not have a soul. All right, just f the robot revolution. Granted, I look forward to serving my robot overlords when it eventually happens, or running from zombies. Something's going to happen soon. And you don't have to be a conspiracy theorist for that. Something's going to happen. What do you call it? Anyway, all jokes aside, when Bridget gets this hammer, when she gets Mjolnir, I feel like it should have been a bigger deal because right now it almost felt like it was just a hereditary thing. And it's like, why? Why? Thompson has this incredible ability to draw very compelling, strong women. You know what I'm saying? And when I say strong, I actually mean the very base version of the word. Captain Marvel is freaking strong. You want to arm wrestle Captain Marvel? Go ahead. I dare you. You ever seen the remake of The Fly with Jeff Goldblum? Yeah. Um, what do you call it? Like that's arm wrestling Captain Marvel. Laura L. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Really strong character, and yet we can be compassionate and we can say, I would really like to see a series with her. You know who else I'd like to have seen a series with? Bridget. I'd like to have seen a limited series or a 25 issue run with Bridget. Maybe 25 issues would have been too long. I don't know. God damn, this is Kelly Thompson's fault. She writes very compelling stories, very compelling characters, more specifically. More important than the if you're only focusing on the story, you might say, huh, because I gotta get into that too. Oh my God. Guys, there's one of the reasons why she is my favorite writer right now in comic books. Okay? And I know there's gonna be a whole lot of people who are gonna take issue with that. You have my condolences, but please, if you do have the temerity, please hear me out in this. The way that she's telling this story and her going into the future, it may seem random, but no. It goes back to the first issue. It goes back to the very first issue, the first baddie that she came across. Remember, there was a time difference there. So if you've got like 6 issues or so of, I forget how many issues it was, but like on average Marvel, it's 6. So if you got like 6 issues or so of time being extremely not elevated, escalated, like time is going super fast in this particular little bubble, right? And a few characters are in that bubble. Okay, cool. Outside of the bubble, time is going normal, right? When you look at things through a physics standpoint, the higher level of elevation, different levels of time, right? Because time is subject to the laws of physics. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. So elevation will actually change time also. Like, oh, it seems to be faster here than it is here. Just like with cooking temperatures, because elevation. Anyway, in this particular case, oh look, we have um this character who was accelerating time. That's the word I think I should have been looking for. Accelerating. There was accelerated time here for a certain period of time. So when she comes out of that bubble, that time that was accelerated, that still happened. That has to go somewhere. Like there's the laws of entropy. You don't just simply reverse all of those things. That accelerated time actually goes someplace. Turns out it went to certain pockets, certain world, certain whatever. And since she was actually in a time displacement, it's like it's kind of sticking to her almost. And I don't know how this is working. And I'm sure at some point Kelly's going to get on and say, you fucked up everything. You got everything wrong. You're such a dumbass, Bill. Actually, do I have to spell it out for you? No. Calm down. In reality, I literally look at it as I don't understand exactly what's happening, but I do understand that something's happening, and I'm seeing how it's all connected. And it also helps to follow Kelly on Twitter. I'm saying, one, she gives us spoilers on Twitter. Two, she'll also tell us things that we missed on Twitter. She's not a scientist, okay? So it's going to be comic book science as opposed to actual science. I'm totally cool with that. I just so coincidentally happen to read comic books, so I can suspend my understanding of physics for this. But like time is very important for everything that's happening here. Hey, wasn't there also a time stone being used at some point? Interesting. Anyway, all of this that's happening here is basically Kelly doing this incredible story where everything that happens actually has consequences. Consequences in comic book is a thing that we call continuity, which is something that a lot of people, I'm not here to name names, but a lot of people simply aren't doing. There are people who don't have continuity in their own runs. Kelly's like, oh no, shit matters here. You know what I'm saying? I can't even say I adore that's exactly what's happening here. All of these things matter. So I love those things about it. I love the way that characters are developed. I love the relationships that these characters have. I don't care if it's men and women or women and women. I don't see a lot of men and men in here. There's not a lot of man-on-man interaction. I'm not talking about sex. I'm talking about like talking to each other. Get your freaking sick minds out of the gutter, you bunch of freaking savages. Anyway, I love the idea that in this, there's just so much interaction with people, and they're building relationships. They have relationships, and those relationships are being explored, and we get to see their relationships. My God, man, I admit to liking soap operas back when I was younger. I don't have the time to get invested in a damn soap opera right now. I had to wait months just to be able to watch season 3 of Cobra Kai, and I freaking loved that series. I got to meet Zabka and who's the original sensei for Cobra Kai. I got to meet those guys at Niagara Falls Comic Con, all right? Like, I got to hang out with these guys. It was freaking amazing. That being said, it took a while to actually get to it because I'm doing things, okay? I'm doing things. Kelly's doing things too. And almost every single character that she writes, we can all say, can we have a solo series with that person? You know what I'm saying? And I think that more than anybody else at this point, if I had one complaint to make about this comic book, with all the incredible story and the incredible art, the incredible interactions, the incredible story that's being told, the story behind the story that we're not fully understanding. It's there, but we're just not figuring it out yet. If there's one thing I had to lament about, it's that Bridget shouldn't have gotten the hammer back in this issue. F issue number 25. All right? F that is the 25th issue. She shouldn't have gotten the hammer back in this. She should have found another way to win. I wanted there to be a moment where, possibly in a solo series, I don't care if it's 6, whatever it is that she has to tell the story, let that be the series. Let that be where we find that she's worthy. Because she's always been worthy. She simply had to recognize that. Because worth is more, to my understanding is, whenever somebody says, well, what does worthy mean? My understanding of what worthy means is how you feel about yourself and how others in general feel about you. Can you be trusted? Do people trust that you're going to do the right thing? This is the reason why Tony Stark will never be worthy. And if he is, F that writer. I mean that vehemently. F that writer. You know what I'm saying? Um, Unless it's like the weirdest what if story ever. So it's not unadulterated. Anyway, I would have loved to see more of Bridget being explored. This is such a like it's a beautiful character. I just mean, like her hair is very pretty and she's got big boobies. No, 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 no. I'm a little bit more evolved than that. So just what's the next step above Cro-Magnon? That would be me. All right, my forehead's not quite as elongated, like my brows and everything. My knuckles don't completely drag on the floor all the time. Like she's a beautiful character internally. Also, you see this person who she doesn't think that she's worthy. Oh, I'm sorry. Is that a potentially broken character? Oh, yeah, because nobody likes characters who are potentially broken who we could eventually see become like, like understand who they are. Where it's like, maybe in some regard, oh my God, wouldn't it have been great to find out that the Hammer didn't think that it was worthy of her? Oh, God damn it. God damn it. Look at the things that we're missing. Because she just had to get the Hammer back because it was a case of. Now, look, it was still a good moment. And it was still a moment where I did start to get a little tiniest bit choked up because she got the Hammer back, because it's always a good moment. But I did honestly feel like it was cheap and it was undeserved. All right, not completely cheap, but it was definitely like on sale. All right, I'll say it was an on sale moment. All right, it was like steep discounts. You know what I'm saying? Um, what do you call it? I felt like it was a very undeserved moment that I still got a little bit emotional for, but it could have been a full out like, oh my God, like, you know, happy, ugly crying. You know what I'm saying? It could have been one of those moments with this new character who we could easily get, if we haven't already become like emotionally invested in. Sometimes just let a character breathe. I feel like this could have just been an incredible moment in a series all on its own. And Marvel can use new characters. And let's be realistic. Please name me somebody else in Marvel who has demonstrated the ability to create more new and beloved characters, or just believable characters. Even like Star, it's hard to beloved her, even though broken chick who needs help. Maybe stop making so many blondes. Maybe that's the problem. I don't know. There are people who hate on people just simply for the sake of hating on people, and hating on comics for the sake of hating on comics. It doesn't make sense to me. But what does make sense to me is that Kelly has the ability, this ability, better than anybody else. I'm not disrespecting anybody by saying that she's better than everybody else right now, at creating new characters who we can believe and we can get invested in. And I don't know if it's Kelly not being willing to say something and to make a pitch on something, or if it's people at Marvel telling her, no, 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 just keep it confined to your book. I don't know what it is, but I honestly believe that, honestly, maybe it's editing. I don't want to sit here and start saying names. I don't want to do that. But for the love of God, like, I feel like at one point we're going to get Kelly Thompson Unchained, and Marvel will never be the same. Um, that's how much I love what she does in the books, and I feel like most, if it's not 100% of the problems, it's 99.9% of the problems that I have with anything that Kelly Thompson would do that I wouldn't like. It would usually be because it was not something that was fully actualized, and God damn it, there was something there, but it just didn't go where it could have, like being held back or something like that. And it's so funny, like it's almost like the saga of Kelly Thompson. No, whatever. I don't care if somebody thinks that I'm mulling over this too much. Seriously, like, how many movies have we seen where it's like you just have to, like Neo, you just have to let go. Kelly's Neo in this, all right? Kelly needs to let go. Kelly needs to understand it's not just that kung fu. You can make that jump the first time. Like, she absolutely love the stuff that I'm seeing. But it is always a little bit heartbreaking when you know that it could have been so much more still, you know? Anyway, guys, definitely get this book. Stuff like this just makes me think to myself, I have to customize a character. Customize a character. I have to customize my toys because I'm trying to build my dioramas. I'm trying to sew costumes. I'm trying to build dioramas. I'm trying to do stuff for my articulated comic book art. I'm trying to do stuff for my stop motions. You know what I'm saying? I'm actually already investing money in these things so that I can actually tell my own stories with a lot of these incredible characters. I'm telling you right now, Bridget, she's a character who I now realize, you know what? I need to get my hands on another Valkyrie character, but bigger body. But I can do that. Okay, I can do that. I'm going to try and customize a character to build that because I don't think that Bridget, unfortunately, is going to be one of those Jeff the Landshark characters where we get Shikla plus Jeff the Landshark. I've got them. I've got two. But the idea is, I don't think that Bridget right now is going to be one of those characters, unfortunately. But I want to see them being told, and I don't want to wait for those stories to be told. So I feel like I want to make a Bridget story. And yeah, eventually, maybe one of these days, I'll be able to tell those stories and show you guys. Um, until Marvel finally gets off his ass and say, "Hey, did you guys realize that we just had a sidearm and holdout? We got Kelly Thompson." Yeah, yeah, Marvel, you do. Anyway, great book. Go out and buy it. Enjoy. Because I genuinely believe that you will. And talk to y'all later. Like the video on the way out. God damn you. Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Class dismissed.